Okay. Ismail Abdul-Salam, beatsboxingmayhem.com. Scott and Elizabeth, great to meet you guys. Thank you for making time. You two are my favorite characters, so I'm very excited about this. Got my little lunch.
Yes, best way
Um,
to start the conversation. That's good. Yeah, thank you.
no problem. So, Elizabeth, I want to start with you. With Donna's character, she's always been in the forefront, but from a leadership standpoint, she's doing a lot this season for season two. Why do you feel what do you feel is holding her back from being in Boyd's position? Why couldn't she take possibly a leap like that? What do you think is holding her back, if anything?
Oh, that's an amazing question because I'm going to have to think about the answer. Um, I think it's personality. I think it's his skill sets are slightly different than hers, and he's able to organize. Whereas I think Donna, she can protect and she can make plans, but she doesn't have that organizational skill that Boyd has, which I think is why he gets in certain dilemmas that she doesn't, though. But maybe it's also yeah, she's volatile, and I think that's tricky for her too.
Got it. And Scott, with your character, what I really like that I think is underrated, he knows how to read people very carefully, as far as he knows kind of who to reach out to with Ethan and Julie, and even the character this season, which I don't won't reveal, that people I think will be surprised about. What do you think he notices about those particular characters that makes him comfortable with engaging with them?
I think that's a great question as well. Well, as we know with Ethan in season one, it was the boy in white was the connection. The second that Ethan mentioned that he was seeing this boy in white, and so that relationship was established early on as I see Ethan a lot like myself. That he was chosen by the boy in white. That journey. I think each person has their own thing. The unnamed character that you're mentioning of this season, I think, is something that has to do with has to do with the frequency that they kind of meet on, because they really are kind of at opposite ends of a spectrum, but yet on the same one, kind of, and yet they find each other, and there's a need for each other, as there is with all the relationships in this story, and then with Tabitha, for instance, I think immediately, there was a very maternal thing there. And even though I was instructed to come in and protect her and get her out of this labyrinth, at the end of season one, that relationship develops as well. And I think that there's a certain trust there, but it's different than, let's say, the relationship with Ethan or the unnamed character.
Got it, got it. And we know that you two characters, there's a bond there as well, and you kind of rely on each other. With Donna, though, I'm wondering who is your safe space from a leadership standpoint, as far as when you're exasperated with things that are going on, who can you rely on to kind of talk to about what you're going through? I kind of feel like Donna doesn't really have that at this point.
I think she doesn't really have that person yet. I mean, she feels very safe with Victor, but I don't feel she would be able to put that upon him to share. So yeah, I think you're right. I hadn't thought about that. She doesn't really, maybe Fatima. But even then, she's a young woman. I think in a way, Donna sees her as potentially a woman who can lead in the future. But she doesn't have that confidant.
Right, right. And Scott, with Victor's character, one thing I really liked about it is I feel like in a way, the way you present him kind of makes us confront our own biases. Because initially you heard a lot of people say, oh, he's creepy, there's something wrong with him. Even now, nothing has really changed. You just got to know him a little bit more and learn about how he functions. So just talk a little bit about how you crafted that character to have that kind of nuance to make people reflect on themselves when they learn more about the character.
Oh, so they kind of see something in themselves in Victor? That's the idea?
Yeah. I think initially they see him as creepy when he's not really creepy. It's just really getting to know him more, and that kind of goes away after that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think, that creepiness is just a result. It wasn't something that I ever set out to play. It's not really a playable thing, for me. Victor's just Victor and he's just looking for what he's looking for, and but I think that, I wonder if people can respond to someone who is who might appear to be lonely. If we know what it feels like to be an outsider a little bit. I think that more enigmatic sort of side of him is just, it lays in the mystery of his the past of that town, which will be revealed more in this coming season and explain it more. I think that John did a really beautiful job of just sort of like you said, starting him a certain way, but then as it kept going, and I never knew where it was going, he's becoming more human, I think, in that way. We're seeing how he feels about things and that he is looking for connections with people. I think that's a big one this season too.
Definitely. Well, I appreciate your time, both of you, and looking forward to the new season on April 23rd.
Thank
Excellent.
you.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You too.
You too.